In this video, I'll be taking you through the steps for how to make a sheet pan dinner. We basically had everything we needed to make this meal, but we still needed to get a few things from Target with our masks on because we value public health. We needed to get chickpeas, more broccoli, a lemon, some other stuff that I forget, some other stuff that probably wasn't related to this recipe. After we were done shopping, we headed home with all the ingredients because it was getting pretty late at this point, and we usually eat dinner in the early evening because we're old and also work early in the morning. We started by washing the produce, which in this case was 2 bell peppers, 2 russet potatoes, 2 roma tomatoes, 1 head of broccoli, and 2 small yellow onions, but you could probably use whatever you wanted, including stuff like carrots, maybe asparagus, if you felt so inclined. The purpose of this recipe was to clean out our fridge and cabinets and make something healthy, because a lot of times cooking with the goal of using up food doesn't yield the most impressive meals. So while I was preparing all this food, the oven was preheated to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. In the background, you can see the container I was using for food scraps because they compost here in Portland, which is satisfying. It's weird to watch myself peel potatoes and use a knife to cut food because it looks like I'm about to cut my own fingers off. I work in a kitchen and I'm used to using sharper knives and cutting food to specific thicknesses, so it's also weird to watch this footage back. Now I'm draining and rinsing 2 cans of chickpeas. Rinsing them isn't completely necessary, I guess, but you do want to make sure they're drained because it's easier to toast chickpeas when they're more dry and aren't right out of the can. This is my roommate's cat. He was very interested in everything that was going on. We had so much food that I ended up dividing it into 2 different bowls so that I could mix it and season it sufficiently. After the food is all prepared, drizzle some olive oil over it. The blend of spices we used to season was salt, black pepper, paprika, rosemary, cayenne pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and herbs de provence, but again, you could probably use whatever you want. The recipe called for Old Bay seasoning, but we didn't have any, and I didn't feel like making my own. Here's an aesthetically pleasing shot of our food. When you're ready, you want to line 2 sheet pans with parchment paper, not wax paper. I've heard of so many people making this mistake, and you will catch your oven on fire if you use wax paper. It's not meant to be cooked in the oven. It's better to use 2 trays so that everything can be spread out and roasted evenly. Obviously, if you're going to make this for only one person or you only want enough for one meal, you don't have to use that much, but we were cooking for 2 and we intended to have some leftovers, so we made a lot of food. Put those bad boys in for about 20 minutes, and then after that, turn the trays and roast for another 10 to 15 minutes or until the veggies look sufficiently done. We served all of this over rice. 1 cup of rice was enough for 2 people in this case. We got a lemon to squeeze over it and garnish with, and I immediately cut it the wrong way, but I was determined to salvage it. It kind of worked, but I was supposed to cut it in half lengthwise, not widthwise, because if you cut it widthwise, it doesn't turn into wedges. there's the sauce we ended up making. It's just vegan sour cream with cumin, paprika, and a little bit of cayenne pepper mixed in. That's paprika dusted on top because my partner wanted to make it look pretty for the video. In our haste to eat, we forgot to film it coming out of the oven, but here it is all plated up with big dollops of sauce on top. Look at that steam. And it was very delicious. I'm going to link the recipe in the description if you want, and I'm also going to include the produce and spices that we used in this recipe if you just want to recreate that. Thank you for watching.